back to your Python journey. In this video titled Python syntax, Python variables and data types and the basic command, we are going to learn how we can talk to our computer using Python syntax, variables, data types, and learn the basic commands of Python. We are going to learn how to speak Python language using real world examples. If you've never written a code before, no worries. Today we'll break down how Python understands instructions and how to store data in variables and how to talk back using the print function. Are you ready? Let's go. What is Python syntax? It's just like English grammar. Python has something called syntax. English grammar have rules, and once you know the rules and once you understand English, you can be able to interpret what someone said to you or what someone wrote to you in a letter. Let's give this an example. You wrote a letter to an Englishman with an English alphabet. When the English alphabet comes together, they give you a word. When the words come together, they give you sentences, right? So that's the way it is. When code comes together, it's called a syntax. So when we give the syntax to the computer, because it does understand that syntax, it gives you the result you're expecting. So these are the rules Python follows to understand your command. Right now, what I have open on my screen is the terminal, the MacBook terminal. If you are on the Windows, you open your command prompt. So right now, I am on my desktop terminal, but I want to go to the Python terminal so that we can work on our Python there. For now, we'll be using the terminal. As the course grows, we'll go to a better environment. But this is a very good place to start with as a beginner. So let me jump in to the Python terminal. We do that by doing Python 3. If you are on Windows, no need to put 3, just the Python, and you hit enter, and you see your Python version. As long as you have Python installed in your computer, you see the Python version on the terminal showing. And before we jump into learning all this, there are things you should know before you start learning Python. It's called the Zen of Python. So the Zen of Python gives you the guidelines and rules to follow in Python and to read about them, to know about it. For it to pop up here in our terminal, we use this syntax called import this. So import is going to bring out this function called this, and this is where the Zen lies. And when we hit the enter, and this is what we see. It says the Zen of Python by Tim Peters. Beautiful is better than ugly. Explicit is better than implicit. Simple is better than complex. So these are the guidelines you should know and rules you should know before you go into Python programming. All right. By the time you've really dived in Python programming and you come back here, you understand it much more better. So I'm going to clear the screen. Now let's talk about Python syntax. I'm going to give you a simple Python line when I use the print. And all right, this I love Python. Put the exclamation mark. And I hit the enter. So this print I love Python is a Python syntax, just like when you alphabet comes together to give you a word, and when words comes together they give you a sentence. English is going to call this a syntax, but Python programmers, Python see this as a syntax. So we're trying to tell the computer to print what is in this bracket, which is I love you. I love Python, and that is what he did. I love Python. He was able to understand this is a this is a print function. So you understand, just like how we read letters, Python does the same thing. Python read our letters from top to bottom and from left to right. Top to bottom, left to right, just as how we read our English words. Understood? And now we're going to try more example, and I'll give you this for now. Print welcome to my channel. What do you think is going to happen when I hit the enter key with the previous example? Try it on your code editor or your terminal, your command prompt. What do you see? Hit the enter key. What did you get? Did you get this? Welcome to my channel. Yes, because you just wrote a Python syntax. All right. So now let's jump into Python variables. What is a Python variable? Let's say you want to store information like a name, a number, a score. In real life, we use label boxes. In Python, we use label data using variables. So Python variables are containers. It is used to store a value, and we use the equal sign to assign values to the variable. Let me give you an example here. So I want to store a name, and let me just do this and I'll explain it later. All right. What you see here, this name is a variable. All right. And remember, I told you a value is assigned to a variable using the equal sign. So I want to assign a value to this variable name. I use the equal sign. And what I'm assigning is a string. A string is always in quotes. So I'm assigning Zara, which is a string, to this variable called a name. Okay. And I want to assign another variable, and I'm using age, and I put 12. This is another variable, and I assign 12 to this variable called age. Use the equal sign, and this is not a string. This is called integer. It's also known as numbers. So anything in a quote is called an integer. All right, and now I want to assign the city where this person is from, and I put Lagos. Okay, this is another variable, and this is the value in a string. Okay, when we go to data types, we will understand more about string, digital, and the boolean. So for now, this is variables. These are the first variable, second. This is the first variable, second variable, the third variable, and this is the value, and the value, and the value is assigned with an equal sign. Okay, so now what happens when we want to call upon it to really explain and make you understand what's really going on here? When I print the name, is going to give me Zara, because Zara now has the value of name. When I print age, it's going to give me 12, because 12 has the value of, because 12 now have been assigned to age variable. And when I print city, it's going to give me Lagos, because city has the value of Lagos, and Lagos have been assigned to the city variable. So when I run the print function, and I just put name, remember, this thing in the bracket, this name has to be exactly the same thing with the variable here. Because if you made a mistake, you're gonna get error, and you cannot use numbers as variables. It's always letters. Okay. So now I am going to print this name and let's see what happens. It gives me Zara because name has the value of Zara and Zara have been assigned to name. So I do the same thing for age. When I print my age, it's going to give me 12. And also when I print city, it's going to give me Lagos. So you understand now when I said variables are like containers. We store values into variables. I've just stored Zara to this name, 12 to this age, and Lagos to this city using the equal sign. And string are in quotes. And this is an integer. This is a string. Okay. This is what the basic thing you should know about variables. And let's jump more into a real world example. Let's say we want to register a student data. We want to call a student data. How do we do that? I'm going to clear this for now. How do we do that? In using variables, you are going to store a student data in variables. First, we need the student name, we need the student age, we need the student course, and we need the student GPA. So to do that, we use variables to store those data. So I'm going to store the student's name, and I'll use Emmanuel. It should be in capital is the name. Emmanuel. Okay. And now we're going to use let's store the student's age in this variable. Student age, I'll use 18, and we're going to do the student course. The course, was the student studying? The student is studying Python programming. And also the student CGPA. CGPA. We're going to give, and the student has 3.8. All right. So I'll explain this. So this is a variable, student name, a variable, student age, course, a variable, and student CGPA is also a variable. And remember, we assign a value to this. This becomes a variable when a value have been assigned to it. So I assigned Emmanuel to this, and I assigned 18, which is which is an integer, and the course I assign the value to it using Python programming. And look at this variable very well. You know, student name, I have to make it one word. So I use this. Remember, your variables should always be one word and your variables cannot be a number. Okay, so course, which is one word, student CGPA, because student, I want to make it one word, I join it together using this. Okay, now we want to print out the data. Okay, so I want to print it out. You remember the print function? Yes, I know you remember. You use the print function, and we'll print the student's name. Remember, what is in this bracket has to be the same thing, the variable. I'm just going to print this variable. Okay, put it here. It's better to copy and paste so you would not make a mistake in spelling or how the variable is. Okay, and it gives me Emmanuel, which is the student's name. Do you understand? And now we're going to print the student age. We are trying to retrieve data now. So to print the student's age, we use the print function again, and you put it in bracket, and you can make this to look more better, more professional. You use this. I'll explain it later. Age, and then student age. All right. So this is a print function. This is print function print everything that is inside the bracket, right? So this age is a string inside a quote, and this is a variable student age which has the value of 18. So I want to print a string that says age with column and then the value of the student age. Do you understand? When I hit enter, it gives me age and it gives me 18. This age is just a string, and this 18 here is a value of this variable called student age. All right, so let's print the course. So I'll use the print, and I'll also do the same thing I did here. Our course, I'll just write student course. Remember to put your comma, all right, immediately after the string. Put your comma, space, and then the variable you want to print out, which is course. You can just copy it and then you paste it and you close your bracket and you hit the enter. See student course Python programming, and then you want to print the student CGPA. So just write a string student CGPA. All right, and then your column, you close it, your comma, your space, and then you copy the variable so you won't make a mistake, and then you paste it and you close your bracket and you hit your enter. It gives you student GPA. This is just used a reward example to explain variables to you, how you can use variables in real life examples. Okay, so I want you to try and change the value of variables. I want you to know variables can change. For an example, remember the student's name, or initially it's Emmanuel. I want to tell you that it can also be changed. Variables can be changed. Student name, I want to change it. Remember, we use the equal sign to assign a value to a variable. Now I want to change it to Dave. When I use Dave and I hit my enter, and when I print student age, student name, when I print student name, let's see what I'm going to get now. Comma, and then copy the variable and put it here. As you see before, when I print student name, it gave me Emmanuel, and now when I changed it by assigning a new value to it, it gave me Dave. So variables value can be changed. So I want you to change the value of student age, the scores, and student. Do that for me and tell me how easy it was for you. Pretty easy, right? It will be. Okay. And now let's go to Python data types. All right. In Python, every value has a type. Let's look at most of the common ones. Remember what I told you about string. String are text in quote. Integers are whole number. Floats are decimal numbers. Boolean is true or false. All right. So let me give you the example, just like what we did before. So when I say string, I'm going to give a variable and I'm going to call it a string. String, I'll assign it to this. So string are text in quotes. So when I put string are text in quotes, all right, this is a string. And then integer, I'm going to give integer. Integer are what? Whole numbers. So 18 is a whole number. And then float is a decimal number, just like our CGPA 3.8. This is a float in Python. And then boolean are either true or false. Okay, so when I print this, when I say print string, so string are text in quote. All right, so when I print integer, remember I told you integer are whole. Integer a whole is a whole numbers. They are whole numbers. Okay, and then copy your integer and paste it here. When I hit enter. Okay, remember this is an error. I'll tell you what happens here. I forgot my comma. Remember what I told you when you have to be careful, and it's telling me perhaps you forgot a comma. So let's do that again. And this time around, let's put our comma. These are part of Python exam errors, and I'll teach you how to handle errors in the future. So print whole numbers. So remember, and comma, I almost forgot it again. The integer, just copy it the way the variable is to avoid a mistake in typing or the spelling. You see whole number. So integers are whole number, and 18 is a whole number. So same thing for float. So now you get it. You understand. Floats are decimal numbers. Boolean is true or false. So let's do that for all of them. Print. So what I tell about float? Float are decimal numbers, comma, and then float. I'm calling. Remember, this float is this variable, and this variable has the value of 3.8. So when I print, it will be 3.8. I will show. And when I hit enter, so decimal numbers are called float. Okay, and we'll go to the next one. Print boolean. So booleans are they are either true or false. So what we assigned to this boolean was true. So copy, close it. So you've seen it now. So booleans are either true or false, and what we have here is true. So you can start your but it's mostly advisable in Python for your variables to be in small letters because of when we go to the class, Python class are in capital letter. They start with capital letter. So for us not to for Python not to misinterpret your variable as a class, always use small. Uh, don't use capital letter. When we go more into our class, you will understand better. Okay, so clear the screen for now. I want you to do something for me. I want you to create a data that contains item, price, quantity, you understand, and show if the print stock true if it's available. You understand? So this is what I mean. An item that holds a string, might be a pen, okay, and then price, and then quantity, how many is available, five, and then in stock to show if it's in stock. So if it's available, you put true, which is a boolean, right? So here, this is a price, but it doesn't actually look like a price. So when you want to print this price, for it to look more like like a price, either dollar, euro, and all that. When you want to print it, see what you should do. Print. Want to print price. Let the currency logo, the value, be in string like this. You understand? And then you put your price, which is one, which is 1 point this, and you close. Have you seen it? So now it looks more like a price. Okay, much more better now. So I want you to do the rest and print it for me. Okay, all right. So now let's go into, we've learned data types, we've learned variables. Now let's jump into the print function. Let's learn about print function using the print function. Going to clear this. All right. So print is how you talk to your computer and it talks back to you. We've used the print here several times. You can use to print, you can use it to print text, you can use it to print variables, and you can use it to print both, just like what we've done. So let me explain print now. For an instance, just like the previous example we've done, I'll use a name, which is a variable, and I give it a value of Sam. Okay, and I want to print Sam. Remember, and I want it to look more better, like saying hello Sam. Remember, I say you can use to print text, and remember, text is also known as string as long as they are in quotes. So I'm going to say print. I'm using the print, and I'll use hello, which is the string, and here we're going to use the plus sign and name. All right, this is called joining. I'm trying to join this string and this variable together. We use the plus sign. Remember to space. We use the plus sign to join string and variables together. Remember I told you can use print to print text, variables, and both of them together. So when I close this and I hit enter, you see hello Sam. And remember, this hello is a string and this is a variable that has name. You understand? And also there's another way to print it if you don't want to use the plus sign. It is called the F string. Let's use repeat the same thing, but this time I'm going to use the F string. Remember, our names they have the value of Sam. So to use the F string, you're just going to use the F letter, the English letter F, and then it will be before the quote. Okay, before the quote, and you have the hello, all right, and space. Then you use the curly brace. This curly brace is going to hold the variable, which is name. This is how to use it. Then I write the name, and then you close it, and then you close your quotation mark, and then you close your bracket. This is a print function, and I want to use the F string to print exactly the same thing that is here. So this is the F string. So the F string is an F letter that stays before the quotation mark, and here you can use it to add. Why F string is more important is you can use the F string to add many variables in a quote with your text. Hello, Sam. And when I print this, it gives me the same thing. So F strings, they let you mix variables and text so easily, very easily. And let me give you another example why I said so easily. So I'm going to create another data. Okay, I'm still, and this is going to be Emmanuel. I use Emmanuel here. This is the name. Oh, mistake. I did not use the equal sign. So I'm going to create another one. Emmanuel name. I'm going to give it equal sign, and I'll call Emmanuel. Okay. And now I want to give him an age. Age is equals to 18. And I want to give him who is the status. Emmanuel is status. Emmanuel is a student. Okay, and what else should we give Emmanuel? Okay, let's put it this way. All right. So let's use the F string here and tell you why I said F string helps you to use multiple variables. So let's print this. So let's print. Then remember the F comes before the quotation mark. Then you now write hello Emmanuel, or hello comma welcome. Hello, welcome. Your name is, then the variable name. Name is name, which has the value of Emmanuel, and put your comma here, and you are, and you are, how old is he? You use the age. Also, a what status. So you use the status. And remember to close your quotation mark, and remember to close your bracket. And when you hit enter, see what happens here. It says welcome, hello, welcome. Your name is Emmanuel. This Emmanuel is, remember, this Emmanuel is a variable. Your name is Emmanuel and you are 18, which is a variable. Also, a student, which is a variable. Have you seen why I told you F string makes it much more better? All right. Thank you so much for sticking around with me to this part. So we've done an awesome work today. You've learned how Python reads command, how to store information in variables, what data types are, and how to print cool stuff just like what we have now on your screen. In our next video, we'll explore more and we will learn how to code Python in another environment, not in the terminal again. Step by step, we are moving forward and we are learning more for Python. Until then, keep practicing and don't forget every line of code is a progress. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comment section what was your favorite part today and what you want to learn more. Thank you and God bless you. It's Emidev.